And now for something completely different at last. So, there's a long story behind this, but I'll just reveal what's going to happen today rather than try and pretend I can keep it a surprise, because I won't be able to contain myself. 1 minute. 1 second. See that? It's not a road bike any longer. It's the Checkpoint by Trek. It's a budget bike, and we had it built up at the Park Bike Workshop many months ago. And then I just basically never got around to, well, telling the story of it properly. It's a review bike, but I'm going to buy it. It's not very expensive, especially in comparison with the usual kind of exotica that I have. That's not to say I'm a bike snob, it's just that I've been in the bike trade for over 30 years. This is bloody beautiful too, and it's bloody practical. And yesterday I started to realise I've got to tell the story of this bike, because it's terrific. It's an absolute versatile beast. I just thought of that little title then. There's so much different to it. That's basically been the reason that I've been putting off doing this review, because it's a gravel bike. I haven't trimmed the fork steer yet, I've just noticed that, and I thought I should mention it. And traditionally, on Ride Media, I review road bikes. That's not to say that I don't ride all kinds of bikes. I have a mountain bike, I have this gravel bike, I have another gravel bike, and I've just been riding my road bike because I've been loving it. And then I had a pause because of the hand surgery, long story, but there's still some scar tissue and I have to be very gentle with it, but I think that that's going to come up because it's all different, because, see that? Shimano. I'll be riding with Shimano, and see this, hang on, see this? Cables. I'll be riding with cables, which is to say I'll be shifting old school style with cables. I actually was thinking about this before I started filming, and it's been years since I've ridden a bike that's had non-wireless shifting, which is crazy to think. But anyway, it's got a 2x at the front, which is a bit odd. Frankly, it feels a little bit like overkill. On the Canyon Grail, which is over a corner over there, and sadly they get neglected because I haven't really been out to the gravel like I'd like to with it. It's got a 1x, and that seems a lot more practical for a bike of this sort of style, but I think there's some benefits to it. And that is to say, this is aluminium, here, and I also think that it's wise to put an aluminium frame rather than a carbon fibre frame on the home trainer. And ideally, a less expensive frame on the home trainer. The reason that I like this is that it's comfortable, it's practical, it's a gravel bike, you can take it anywhere. It has holes and fittings for all kinds of bags and things, and I'll get to that in a little bit. There's a lot to like about it. I don't mind the colour, I like the price, and to everyone who watched the build at Park Bikes and then said, hey, what happened? Where's the follow-up? I have excuses. That's how it is, and I've just been enjoying my road cycling, and I've been stuck in Sydney, and I think that this deserves a little bit of gravel, and that will come. We did attempt to do it one time in July when I went away with my son, and then I went and broke my ribs and punctured my lung. So, injuries permitting, I'll be riding elsewhere other than the streets of Sydney. But I think this bike is suitable for gravel, because that's what it's designed for. But I think it's also it's great for a city like Sydney, which requires a bike which has got nimble handling, good brakes, robust tyres, and ideally a sixth sense, because if you use the bike past Sydney, you'll be riding along and you'll be thinking, this is pretty trick, this is good, this is great, I'm comfortable. and then you'll be stuck like in a precarious situation. There's a lot going on in November 2022. I'm pleased to say that my hand is healed on back riding the bike. I have to tape it up now because I'm about to go riding and it's still very, very tender. And you don't need to know about my injuries, but I do say that that's part of the logic behind. That's one of my excuses. I've had a few injuries, and I wish that wasn't the case. But you know, these things happen when you're 52 and ride a bike and have a son who knocks you off and breaks your ribs. No, that's another topic. Okay, to be continued. So, okay, intro to the Trek Checkpoint. I'm going for a pedal now. I'll see if I can find a little bit of gravel while I'm idling around the streets of Sydney. And maybe I'll conjure a story and I'll take my camera with me, and if that story emerges, then I'll share that with you in a subsequent video. Otherwise, just stay tuned. I'll be talking a lot more about this, and I'll put some pictures and some written copy with my non-impromptu thoughts about what I think is a super duper practical bike by Trek. Okay, should we have another look at it before I set out the door? There we go. Ta-da. I like that. I do. I think it's very cool. Okay. You'll find out more in a little while. Thanks for watching. See ya.